Hi, staff. This past year, a committee was formed with union representation leadership to take a look at our teacher evaluation forms and process, and it was revamped this past year. And I want to give you a little update about where and how this thing's going to be used. There's not a ton of differences, but there are some forms that have changed. This is just for the general education teachers at this point. I know they're going to be looking at special education as they move forward. All right, well, so what's new? I'm not going to read this whole slide to you, but I am going to highlight a few things. First of all, you're going to notice that there are no longer forms A through E. They've reduced it down to just forms A through D. The second thing you're going to notice is that in the appraisal standards, it's in PDF format now, and it's fillable. The other part you're going to notice is that with Form A, you only have to complete that during your evaluation year. They used to have you do it all 3 years. And then Form D is now embedded inside the rubric. We'll show you what that looks like, but that's where it checked off whether you had met or did not meet standards. And finally, Form E, which is kind of that final one where you signed off on it, that one is now going to be our Form D. So they've eliminated one of the forms. So what's the same? The timelines are the same. The summative cycle is the same. We're still using Charlotte Danielson. And really forms A through C are the same. There's just a couple little tweaks, which I'll show you. And then if you were to be on an improvement plan process, it's the same process that they followed in the past. So the biggest changes you're going to notice are with appraisal standards. And because of that, I put a paper copy in your mailboxes for you to review. We'll go over some of them right now and kind of show you the document a little bit. The first thing you're going to notice is that the domain names have changed, and each domain has a cover page to start the domain. Then on the component pages that follow, you're going to notice that some of the component names have changed or may be different. Next, you'll notice the elements that are underneath the numbers here may be different than previously, and these are what describe the components. Just under the elements, you're going to notice a new section called critical attributes. These are the descriptors that we'll be looking at to determine whether or not a person is a 1, 2, 3, or 4. These are new this year. Then at the end of all the components for a domain, at the very bottom, there'll be a section where the evaluator will mark whether or not the teacher has met the domain, the standards there, or did not. This previously was included on a separate form, which we called Form D. Finally, the last 3 forms really haven't changed very much. With Form A, that was your individual goal. They took out the review section, and then there's just an area where we sign once the goal is reviewed. When it comes to Form C, here again, not many changes, some wording, and they kind of combined some questions just to make it easier to fill out. And then finally, Form D, this is going to be what was used to be our Form E. And all they did was move the instruction to the very top. So those are the major changes when it comes to the forms. We'll do this last page to kind of talk about what's going to happen next. So as it says here, this is a pilot year. And so after the end of this year, if we need to make adjustments as a district, they'll do so. And if you're looking for all these forms, they are on Schoology under staff resources, or we're going to make them available on our Launchpad. The biggest recommendation I would have for you is really go through the appraisal standards. That's the one that had the biggest changes, and that's the one I'm reviewing the most. If you have any questions, you're welcome to come and see me. We'll work through it together.